Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Vuvu and this is Vena Reads. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please take this moment and please press that red subscribe button. It costs you absolutely nothing and it will keep you in tune with what I do on this channel this year, and it will definitely also help me on my journey here on YouTube, so it would mean the world to me if you would just press the button. And if you're keen to be one of the first few people to know what goes up on my channel, please don't forget to ring the bell next to it. And without any further ado, this video is about my top reads of 2018. So in 2018 I read a total of 14 books, and of those 14 books I gave 3 books 5 stars. Imagine. Of the books that I read in 2018, it occurred to me recently that only 2 of those authors had I read before, namely the guy who wrote Origin, sorry now it's leaving my mind, Dan Brown. I'd read a book of his before, and I'd read a book of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's before. So those 2 authors were the the 2 authors that I had read before, and they totals up to 3 books in total. So I read 2 Chimamanda Ngozi books in 2018 and I read 1 Dan Brown book in 2018. So the rest of the 11 were new books to me, and most of them were debuts. Actually, let's take a second and count how many of the books that I read were actual debuts in 2018. Not that they debuted in 2018, but that they were the author's first novels. So I'm aware, I might be wrong for some of them, so I'm aware of 1, 2, 3, 4. I won't count the fact that I read Chimamanda's debut. Oh, maybe I should. Actually, I should. So 5 of those authors' books that I read were debut books. I'm not sure about Kendari Blake. I'm not sure if she had other books before this series. So if she did have other books before the 3 Dark Crown series, if she had other books before the 3 Dark Crown series, then she doesn't count. But if she didn't, then she'd count as number 6. So most of these books that I read, like I'm saying, were debut books, and I have never been so excited, 1, to read authors that I hadn't read before, and 2, to read debuts of those authors, to just start on their journey where they started as well. So my top 3 books of 2018 were Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and these 2 books being Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi and The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So let's just start with the ebook here, which is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Half of a Yellow Sun. I've made mention of it a lot on most of my platforms which I'm active on, which is mainly Instagram and YouTube. I've reviewed it on my blog, which is www.vuvuvenareads.com, and it was a buddy read with, I'm shouting out Stembile M, with Stembile M over on Instagram. Please do follow her. She's really one of the most consistent, and she's got her ways on Bookstagram. I really like her page a lot. Her profile is really doing the most, and I appreciate the fact that she is South African and she is doing the most over there on BookTube. So I'm shouting her out. I'll put her handle up here. Please do follow her. It would mean a lot to me. I don't know what it would mean to her, but for me, for you guys to get exposed to more book crazy South Africans, she is one of them. So do give her some love over on Instagram. And so this was a buddy read with her. We've never met, so we met on Bookstagram, so that's how we decided to buddy read this. She had this as one of her TBRs. She asked if anybody wanted to buddy read it with her. I volunteered. We were clueless. It was our first buddy read for both of us, and we were like, let's just wing it. We'll communicate via WhatsApp, we'll send each other voice notes, we'll just set each other deadlines on certain chapters, etc. We'll just go wild and see what works, what doesn't work. This year we should have another buddy read, and obviously have learned from what happened last year that won't work this year in terms of how we engaged on that platform. So that's how I got to read this book. But what's interesting between me and her is that we had this book on our TBR for some time, and we had started reading it, started reading it, got distracted, etc. So the buddy read really did help us to finish the book. which for me ended up being one of my favorite books of 2018. So thank you so much, Tay. I really, really appreciate it. So the book, if I can recall right now, is set in wartime Nigeria. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is a Nigerian author. She I don't think she's based in Nigeria, but she is a Nigerian born author, and the book explores the lives of ordinary folks during the Biafran Nigerian War. I think it was set in the 60s. I think the war was in the 60s, and just how it brings together various classes within the Nigerian nation, in terms of whether it's through love, through employment, through employment, meaning that co-workers and the people that they employed during a time as strenuous as a war, and how those classist and elitist things get stripped from you, because during a war there is no discrimination in a war. A war will affect everybody, but it might affect them in different ways. So we watch how these characters evolve, grow, and change in the face of a war. And somewhere in there she's mixed in various love stories, which are all equally worth actually reading. She did a beautiful job with that book. She did an exceptional job with that book, and how her characters developed is something worth noting. There is no way that you can stay the same in the face of a war, and I think for some people it shows you up to yourself, it shows you who you truly are, and for some people it helps you become who you should have been all along. And I think that's the gist of her character development in that book, and her story is divine, her story is beautiful. It's something worth reading. And one of the characters that maybe most of us would care the least about is the character that you end up caring the most about. So she really did the most. Like, setting fine, it's wartime, but what she does with the characters within wartime, and how she allows the story to flow from these characters' lives, is amazing. I really loved this book. I can't talk about it enough. I could wax lyrical, but obviously, because I don't know about you guys, actually let me know in the comment section below, if once you've closed the book, do you leave it there and move on, or do the books that you loved the most linger with you in one way or another? I feel like more than anything, this book has lingered with me because of the emotion that it had me link to these characters. These characters suddenly became so important in my life that I had to keep reading, hoping for the best for all of them. And obviously not every story turns out the way that I would have hoped, but I think that's the magic of an author, that even though it's not how you wanted it to end, it's exactly, it almost feels like it's exactly how it was meant to happen. And some of the stories you get to conclude for yourself how they end, and she's done all of that so beautifully well. So I loved Half of a Yellow Sun. My next 5 out of 5 was Children of Blood and Bone. It debuted in 2018, so it is a new book. I do understand there is a sequel. I don't know why I'm doing that. Sorry. I do understand there's a sequel coming out this year. I have no idea what the sequel is going to be called, but it does not matter, because, girlfriend, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. Wow. Fine. The effect of this is lost. Eh? You know that I'm gonna get that book. That's all I'm trying to say. And the reasons behind me loving Tommy Adeyemi's debut novel. First, guys, can we talk about how gorgeous she is? Have you seen this girl? Like, have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Oh, she is stunning. She is Nigerian American writer. She's also a creative writing coach. She's based in San Diego, California. She graduated from wow, like she graduated from Harvard University with an honors degree in English literature. She studied West African mythology, culture, and religion in Salvador, Brazil, and that is why this book is what it is, because it is filled with some form of mythical nature about it. Like, I do believe that she is a mythology student, actually, now that I can link the two. She has done something amazing with this book. Let me just finish this coffee. This book is amazing. It is something that you want to keep in your shelf for you to keep going back to. And the gist of the story here is that within each of us lies something very magical that nobody is allowed or permitted and will never be allowed to take away from us. However, life is unjust, and there are people that exert their powers upon us who think that they've got the right to our magic. The minute that we see that happening, the minute that we see people trying to intrude upon that which is very rare within us, that minute when we see that, we should rise up against all that hatred and keep our magic no matter the cost. And when we can arouse other people's magic around us, let us never hesitate to do that, no matter the cost. And yes, in this book they happen to be black, but your fellow human being, when you see that their magic is being taken, stripped away without their permission, do not hesitate to speak up against that, because that is the biggest injustice in life. And more than anything, what this book over and above that lesson, what this book taught me is to harness my own magic and to find out the trait of magic that I possess, to tap into it and to go forth and offer it into the world shamelessly, fearlessly, and with everything that I've got. So this is a book that I would love my children to read. This is a book that I will revisit on my shelf time and again, because it is a book that is mostly, it will guarantee you a reawakening every single time you page through it. And the wonder of books, when people keep asking book collectors why you collect books, is because you're a different human being every time you read them. And because of that, that means that they have brand new meaning every single time you read them. And I do advocate for rereading, especially rereading books that you've loved. There's nothing more beautiful. I still have to learn the art of annotating my books, because I'm from the old school. When I went to libraries in primary school, I was told that doggy ears were not a thing, so my books don't have doggy ears. I was told that the book should come back in the same condition that you took it in, so that was the case. And I only truly started collecting books when I was in varsity doing English literature, and by then it was grilled in me that I cannot write on any kind of book, even academic books. It used to frustrate me when I would take out academic books from libraries and see scribbles. Doesn't matter if it was scribbled in pencil and I could rub it off. I'm like, what were you thinking? This is not yours. This is not yours alone. And maybe I haven't grasped that actually my books are mine. I can write on them if I want to. Perhaps this year it will be something that I learn to do and actually enjoy. I don't know, because sometimes, because what I tried to do last year is to have a notebook with my books, but sometimes when I read, I don't have my notebook with me. So then I started writing on my phone notes, in the hopes that it will have the same effect. But I don't revisit my phone notes so often, so that didn't work. So perhaps I might just take a pencil and see if I'll be comfortable scribbling on my books. And I should be, because I don't lend out my books. I don't, like, there's a lot of things that make my books very personal to me, so I should be able to do that. I don't know why I'm not. I don't know. So that was book number 2 that got 5 out of 5 in 2018, and my absolute fave. This is like, ooh, you guys, best book of 2018. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it, and I won't stop saying this. I always take a moment of silence, guys. I'm not even trying to be extra with that. This here book deserves a whew. Angie Thomas's The Hate You Give is, oh guys, it's a Bible. I'll give it that. I will say to you, it is a Bible on how to live your life without fear in a system that would have you be scared. How to be fearless in the face of adversity, how to shield your family even while injustice occurs around you, around your community, how to not become what the system would have you become. This book here is the perfect portrayal of how to overcome even while you are in the trenches, if that even makes sense. This book took me through every emotion you can imagine, and if you were following me on my Instagram while I was reading this book, you will know this is no joke. This book had me bawling in laughter and like snorty crying all at once. I read it in what could be summed up as one sitting. It was beautifully written, it was beautifully crafted, the characters are so real, so tangible, so true to humanity, so true to reality that you could almost tap them on the shoulder and say, what's up, you know them, you've seen them, you know them. And in as much as it is an American tale, it is an adoptable tale, and it is a tale of, how do I put it, it is a tale of race. Let me not escape that. It is a tale of injustice due to race, and to watch that play out through the eyes of a child has the most biggest impact that Angie could have ever wished for. And I loved this book through and through. It is my best read of 2018, and I will revisit it again and again. And your girl Angie has another book coming out this year. Let me see, because there is like a short glimpse into the book here, which I don't want to read because I'm very bad when it comes to spoilers. So I just read like a little bit. I don't even know why I did that. Oh, it's called On the Come Up. It should be coming out early this year. So that's my most anticipated, actually it is my most anticipated book of 2019, followed by the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. Those two are definitely high up on the list of my most anticipated reads of this year. That brings to the end my top 3 or my 5-star reads of 2018. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sticking around, watching till the end. If you haven't already subscribed, please press the subscribe button down below, or else please like, share and comment. Until next time, I love you very, very much.